I'm Moshe Safdie. I'm an architect. I was born in Haifa, Israel. To be creating, nothing makes me happier than when I'm producing, sketching, and something emerges that I feel good about. Nothing makes me happier than being out there in nature, in its beauty, and creating in its image, so to speak. And there's no greater joy than when you are loving. Nothing makes me more terrified than the idea of being tortured. And the more you read about it these days, the more frightening it becomes. This is a difficult question because as one who's a generalist, I admire so many people in so many disciplines. I admire Frank Lloyd Wright as a contemporary architect. I admire Palladio I admire Hadrian as the great builder. I admire Da Vinci. But I also admire Shakespeare, and I admire Bach, and I admire Mozart. So I can't admire one person. It's not in my nature. What I most dislike about myself is my persistent dependence of approval by others. One of the characteristics I really dislike in people is self-serving promotion. Promotion for its own sake. I always feel safe and secure. It's part of my nature to feel safe and secure and rarely feel a sense of danger. I think the wood flute is my favorite sound. I work too much in the sense that I need to work at relaxing. I am so obsessed with my work and all the problems it brings with it that it sometimes fills in the life at the expense of other important things. You know, I'm a nomad. I live in Boston. I've lived in Montreal. I concurrently also live in Jerusalem 1 week a month. So the question for me is, what would I add to this collection of places of living? I'd like to spend time in Paris. I'd like to spend time in Italy. I feel having missed out on never having lived somewhere in the places of Europe that I love. I think what challenged me the most is to design buildings that have a sense of timelessness about them, that they have the kind of truth in their design that we find in the designs of nature. It is a relentless stubbornness of not giving up about something I really believe in, and I can stick at it for decades if I believe in it. I think it would be difficult for me as an architect not to say that Habitat is probably my greatest achievement because it's a building that had affected the course of architecture. And I would hope that between now and when I cease to practice architecture, there will be buildings that will rise to that standard and occasion. You know, I could easily see myself as a film director. I could see myself as a composer. But in the final analysis, I would say in the sciences, either in physics or in biology. I mostly lie when I'm trying to avoid hurting people. Actually, I would like to have lots more of what I do have. I would like to have more of the talent that I have, more intense and more potent. My most treasured possession, I could jokingly say my Citroën 1968 DS convertible, but I think my most treasured possession are my children. Job's predicament, thinking that you're just and being exposed to a great deal of suffering. The greatest satisfaction, I think, is when a building opens and the public possesses it and you cut the umbilical cord and you see it taking on its own life. There's no greater satisfaction. I don't think I would like to be a lawyer. Not that I don't love the law as a discipline, but it seems to be that the legal profession engages itself in a great deal of negative energy. It's a mystery to me how I became an architect, because I decided I wanted to be an architect at age 17. I didn't know a single architect at the time. I'd never visited an architectural office. I took some aptitude test that crossed science, mathematics, and art and said, you're fit to be an architect. And I said, my God, I want to be an architect. And that was it. Before architecture, I lived in Israel. I wanted to go and form a kibbutz with my friends and become a farmer. The words that guide me, in a sense, do good unto others, but also just a sense of sincerity and truthfulness and commitment to the things I really believe in.